Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Faith Family Focus. It is Monday morning. We are happy to be here. I am Faith Suggs, your co-host, former Duke X UNC basketball graduate, and current CEO and founder of my company, Brand by Faith, a social media digital branding company dedicated to telling the stories of our clients. And this wonderful man next to me is my father, Schaefer Suggs, former NFL player with the New York Jets and the Cincinnati Bengals, and has also served as VP and on the executive board of the RPFPC, also known as the NFLPA Chicago. Good morning, Dad. How are you?
I'm doing good, Faith. I'm doing really good. Uh, Big weekend this weekend, but we have one more game tonight that we'll talk about. But I'm doing great. How was your trip, and how did you enjoy New Orleans?
New Orleans was wonderful. Definitely. Yeah, I'm gonna say this. I think that New Orleans has the best food nationally. No. I'm thinking about it, and I think that, yeah, in terms of like just well-roundedness, you know what I mean? Like it just has great food. I actually have pictures for you all of how what we ate. We had gumbo, of course. Here's gumbo.
Where was that? Where was that restaurant?
This was on Bourbon Street. This
Oh
is
wow!
Mambo's. Here is some more, obviously, gumbo and shrimp, oysters. I did not eat the oysters. They didn't taste as good as I thought they would, but everyone else loved them. But yeah, great, really great time. Just filled with, Final Four fans. I thought that was a great city. Good morning. Good morning. We will see.
She's
You know
rubbing
what?
it
I
in.
have a pretty good breakdown for the game tonight. So we will see. Which I hope I'm correct on. But no, New Orleans was a great city. I thought that was an amazing host city for an event like the Final Four.
Yeah, it was good. Was it the? It's your first time. So
Mhm.
the first time being in a city that was below sea level.
Yeah, that was interesting. New Orleans is definitely a dirtier in terms of like garbage and like because of population city than New York right now. But New York is definitely way overpopulated. So the two have differences in that sense, but I think the New Orleans, just in terms of what goes on every evening, makes sense to why it is that dirty. Do you know that?
Morally,
Do you know that?
literally, literally dirty or morally dirty, Faith?
I don't know what that means.
Well, when you said dirty, are you in terms of garbage,
Yeah,
not
that's what I
clean,
said.
or
Garbage. I said in terms of garbage and food.
oh, okay. Because
Oh,
it's notorious just for its party, Bourbon Street. It's
oh, no one cares about that anymore. It's 2022, man. Like that's not no. No, it was just
you
dirty. It
go?
was
Did you go to
filthy.
Fat City? Did you get a chance to go that way, Fat
What?
City?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay.
No, we stuck to bourbon and had a lot of great restaurants. Um, really great. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a party city. I don't know what you're talking about. I hear what you're trying to say, but no.
Right.
Um,
Let me. I want a couple more questions. So that was your first time in the Superdome, huh?
yeah, it's really big, and I didn't like it. I do not know. I know why we have to have those games in there, but like, do you know how small the basket looked in that
I
place?
know. I saw
I
your
was like, the depth perception. Actually, I have a picture. The depth perception on your shot is like okay, so tell me how the basket's all the way over there. How if I'm shooting, that's why the first couple shots in each of the games were either air balls or like bricks because like it's just like
yeah. So I remember the first time UCLA and Houston played in the Astrodome, and it
right.
was similar to that, and it was like the first big basketball game in a big dome stadium like that. But since then, at that time, we've seen a lot of basketball games in these big, large arenas.
Well, every Final Four since then has been like
Yes, yes. Were you
which
able to see pretty good? Were you able
you
to
could
see?
see fine, but you really just look up the jumbotron. But I'm telling you, like,
Yeah.
it's okay if we don't like fill up 70,000 people at that game. It's okay. we can we can do a smaller. I don't know. I just was like, this is a lot.
Well, for that game, you
70,000 people.
probably could have had another 150,000.
Yeah, that's what they would have tried. It was sold out, but I'm sure they would have tried that. But it just was like, I was like, how do these kids not see The first couple shots were air balls. The first couple shots were like bricks, or they were missed layups, because it was like the perception, like, and people who are shooters understand that. Like in a darker lit gym where you can more focus on the basket, you can shoot better in a lot of spaces. You ever heard someone call like it's a shooter's gym? It's a shooter's arena. Cameron Indoor Stadium, they say, is like when you get in there, you realize you airball sometimes the first couple times because like of how it's built and the lighting and stuff like that. But I was out there and I was like, this is. Well, it's a football game. I was like, this is crazy. This is not at all basketball. I know we need the 70,000 people. We need the big event and all that stuff and make it $1 billion profit. But it was like a small cup in a pond.
Yeah, were you able to get closer to the court at some point after the game or before the game?
No, you can't get close to the court. This is the Final Four. You can't do that. No.
It seemed like it was pretty well. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, no, that's a very well secured event. Yeah, they have organization to that. Student sections, because like if you're a student, you get a free ticket, but you gotta get wristband, and then they move you out for the next game, and the new students come in. It's very organized.
Oh wow, okay.
It's always been that way. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's a big event. You gotta remember how much money. There were 70,000 people there dedicating their money towards NCAA. So you gotta remember, it's a big event. For sure, right. It's a huge event.
Right. Well, yes. Definitely enjoyed that. And definitely enjoyed Friday's episode of The Huddle. You got a chance to run the episode with assistant coach Nolan Smith from Duke. That was a really nice segue to the weekend. So it was really nice.
Yeah, it was great. And we'll talk about the game, and we can dive into it as well before we cover national championship and other stuff like that. But both coaching staffs, wow, what an amazing, altogether the game was ultimately one of the greatest games they're saying that was ever played. To me, in my opinion, I thought it was an amazing game, and it was stressful, and it was just like a lot of times you're just sitting there like, wow, this is amazing basketball. But I was telling you, it's so much more different in one of those host venues, like either at Chapel Hill or at Duke. It's so different. Environment, experience, like there's nothing else like it.
Yeah.
That was a completely different thing, but I don't think that it's completely different than what it's like to experience those two either at home.
Either one of their venues. So a game at Duke against North, you obviously not only played, but also got a chance to witness both men and women at both venues. It's just you're right. I cannot even imagine. People think that what you saw on Saturday, was great. But until you see a game at Cameron Indoor Stadium against North Carolina or vice versa, you would understand what Faith is trying to say.
Yeah, it's an experience for sure. College sports is just meant to be that experience. Sometimes when you add the money to it, it just kind of, I don't know, it doesn't feel the same.
Right.
But definitely an amazing experience altogether. It was an amazing game. Just the back and forth. A lot of key mistakes by both teams. But I think at the end of the day, I'm not going to say Coach K was out-coached. I think the systems were set up different for that game for sure. I think if you know something about Duke's style of play through the years and with the one and dones and stuff, it's been more of a 4-out, 1-in style of offense, attack the basket. And oftentimes when Duke loses, you blame it for like stagnant offense, standing around watching each other try to make a play. Where when you watched UNC, because they didn't have those, they don't have a Paolo Banchero, right? They don't have someone like that. They don't have a Jabari Park. They don't have a Jalil Okafor. One of those that through the years on that team specifically, what I'm talking about this year, they ran sets. They ran, they had action. They had stuff like that you could tell resulted in a lot of great offensive opportunities for them. So that was my biggest opinion, take away from the style of play from the game. And the reason why I think UNC won is just their shots. And they had some great shots at the end of the shot clock. You know what I mean? But they just seemed like they were making Duke play so much defense throughout that game. And that's exhausting.
Yeah. So my opinion is I saw the difference in maturity with the game. I mean, that I saw this the first game, not the first game, but the game with the ACC championship. It seems like our guards didn't didn't show up that game, and they really didn't show up this game compared to their guards.
No, UNC's guards ran them out the gym.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's just the truth of the matter. That's just what it is. They played a great game. UNC guards got put on some draft boards last night. While those are great guards, everyone knew they were high level. You know what I mean? They're high level guards. There's a reason why they're in North Carolina, but it just, there was a maturity level. But you know what? Duke has a senior guard, and he did not show up. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, and he did here and there, but not the way he should have. Not the way we have seen.
Not in the previous game, right? You didn't see the same guard that you saw against Arkansas. You didn't see the same guard you saw. So and again, the shots that they made down the stretch were just
they were backbreaking,
ice cold, man, daggers, man.
Yeah, no, it wasn't even comparable to. I don't know. It just, you could tell there was a moment that I think changed the game was when Paolo Banchero saved the ball under UNC's basket, which everyone knows is something you don't do from, in that setting. That's what I'm saying. 70,000 people, you can't hear, and you feel like you're standing on a stage. You know what I mean? It's not surprising that your first Final Four, and only Final Four, you make mistakes like that. It just was unfortunate because that mistake fueled, led to an and one. For people to know, the cardinal sin is the only time, if you ever do this, ever take the ball out, grab the rebound the ball, or save the ball out of bounds from underneath your opponent's basket, is either you see someone wide open with nobody around them, nowhere near, or you don't do it. Because if you do it, you have a higher chance of saving it and passing them right back for a layup. So, cardinal sin there. But I think that kind of changed. It just kind of established the mentality. I think that was just really hard to come back from, for sure. Just frustration. But no, it was an amazing game. Amazing. I'm excited to see how tonight goes. But it was an amazing game. And I think that the Final Four, I think there was an amazing city for it. I think this has been a great one so far. I've seen a lot of them. I've seen 3 Final Fours. This one might have been the one that I've been most impressed by. With the ability for it to be in a city that matched the event's intensity, if that makes sense, in the party of all that of New Orleans and what Final Four brings to a city like that. So very awesome to see. Now, I guess one of our questions, and we can go on for hours about this question, but one thing I was speaking about before the game, this is the Coach K's final UNC Duke game. This is the first time Duke and UNC ever met in the NCAA tournament. It's the first time Duke and UNC ever met in the Final Four. This is the 100th meeting, Duke and UNC meeting. The record was 50-49.
So now it's 50-50.
Now it's 50-50. Coach K lost his first game, I think, ever to. I don't think that fact is right. People have been saying he lost his first game ever to UNC. I don't think that fact is right. And then he lost his last game to UNC. Is the rivalry of Duke Carolina over?
No way. There's just too much history. There's too much history. There's too many players. It was like Jason Williams was criticized by Keyshawn. Keyshawn said there's no way that he, because Jason was leaning toward rooting for North Carolina.
Right.
He said there's no way. He said with the rival the way it is, he said there's no way I would root for UCLA. He said I would root for
Jay Williams is a different human. Everyone knows that.
Well, but he's leaning toward North Carolina. He's because of the rivalry. And that's what Keyshawn was basically trying to articulate, was with a rivalry that there's no way that you would ever root for North Carolina, right? So I don't think I think that the rivalry is going to be as strong as it's ever been. Excuse me. I mean, you think about it. Look at the Dean Smith was there, right? And it was interesting that before Hubert got the job, they were talking about John Shire taking over for Coach K and who's going to have the most pressure of performing. And they said no. Hubert Davis had a couple coaches after Dean Smith.
Yeah,
right?
he's not. Yeah,
Right.
not the same.
You're not the first coach after Coach K, right?
Yeah, that's like John Shire is, in the eyes of college basketball, seeing the same pressure that Roy Williams is getting. But let's say this: Roy Williams had a head coaching job before he took over Carolina, so that's
Kansas.
Kansas. So you're saying the rivalry continues?
Without a doubt.
Okay, so let me dink up your opinion a little bit.
What's that word again?
Dink it up. Dink. That's a word. I'm starting to think that vocabulary was lack thereof in your education system during this time period, because that was something I learned in 7th grade. UNC and Duke forever have played each other on host stages, right? At Cameron, at UNC, and if anything, they would play in the ACC tournament. UNC has 6 national championships. They're playing for a 7th this evening. Duke has 5. UNC and Duke have never played in the NCAA tournament. NCAA tournament is considered the postseason. Because they have never been able to play in the tournament, we have never been able to say one is better than the other. We've always had opinions on one is better than the other. So if UNC won national championship, Duke was able to say, well, they won national championship because they didn't see us. If Duke wins the national championship, UNC has been able to say it's because they never saw us. UNC and Duke saw each other to go to the national championship this year. In Coach K's final game, UNC won. Many are saying UNC has officially won the rivalry. Unless, and the only opportunity to challenge that or to even try to redeem that mentality, Duke would have to see UNC again in a Final Four or in the tournament or in the national championship to win back the rivalry. Duke could win the next 5 contests between Duke and UNC, but it won't matter because UNC beat Duke to go to the national championship on Coach K's last game in New Orleans. The rivalry will never be the same. One, because we no longer have Roy Williams, Dean Smith, Coach K. But also because UNC has done something neither of the teams have done in 100 games. As a Duke fan and Duke former player, I do not see us ever being able to top the win that UNC had on Saturday. It's impossible unless Duke and UNC somehow, in some weird round of crazy fate, they would have to see them in the national championship and beat them in the national championship for them to get the rivalry back. And we, as Duke people and UNC people, knew that going in. I don't think the rest of the country knew, but we knew. And so when they won that game, that's why it was way more defeating than people can even imagine, because now UNC officially can say, we are better than you. We've been telling you, but now we can. Even if UNC loses tonight, they've won the real game. The real.
Are you saying that? Are you saying that they win the national championship?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they win a national championship or lose a national championship. They've won. You're telling me
that the win against Duke is going to be more significant to them than winning a national championship?
Yeah. Yes. You're not understanding the hate they have towards Mike Krzyzewski. It's sickening. Okay. It's so gross. And I can say that as someone who's a Duke person, but also someone who steps out, and it's like, I don't remember us ever having hate like that towards Roy Williams. It's wild. But what I'm saying is, yes, they beat Coach K in Coach K's final game. Yeah. But screw that. It's not about Coach K. It's about the fact that they beat Duke to go to the national championship. They've won the national championship. You're not understanding. This was the biggest game ever in the rivalry of 100 games on the national scale in the national tournament to go to the national championship. They beat Duke. So UNC has won the rivalry. And the only way for Duke to take back that torch, that's why I said Duke could win the next 10 years. Yeah, we'll always know, though, that in 2022, in Coach K's final game to get to the national championship to play Kansas, Duke lost.
Especially after beating them in his final regular.
Yeah, you're not understanding what this is. That team had a lot of responsibility on their shoulders. A lot of responsibility. The fate of the rivalry, in fact. So that's why I asked you that question. And yeah, the rivalry continue, but it won't be what it was, and they will always know. Have you ever won a game, or have you ever won, and right before you were about to win? So let's say right before you're about to win, you let the other person win. You know that feeling you have where it's like, well, I could have won if I wanted to, but I was going to be
right.
Yeah.
It would never happen in this, dude.
No, not that it will never happen. That feeling is what UNC will have forever, regardless of wins, losses. They could lose.
I see what you're saying.
For the next decade, they could have a losing season to John Shire.
What you just shared is eye-opening.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to explain to people from the inside of the rivalry. You're not understanding, but this is a big, it's bigger than just, it's 50-50. Yeah.
Tell people how close North Carolina, Chapel Hill is from Durham.
15 minutes.
15 minutes.
8 miles.
Amazing how close the schools are together. And the rivalry is that big.
Yeah. So for me, I was watching and I was like, I kind of know how NC State feels now. Because NC State will never be considered in the rivalry. In terms of public universities, NC State competes with UNC. But in terms of the rivalry, NC State can't tap in. They can never win. Regardless how many times NC State wins, it doesn't matter.
Oh, we just let you in the triangle? Is that what it is?
That is the mentality. So when this game happened, in my head, I was like, this just changed the rivalry. It changed it.
Wow.
It did. We know it. It was a big game.
Would you say this is the biggest rivalry in all sports?
There's no rivalry that compares. What I saw this weekend, which I have seen before, UNC fans were mixed in with Coach K haters. So that put on Carolina blue. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, I get
So when we were there, like the roar that came from Carolina side was louder because you know what that was. I had people in front of me who had no UNC stuff on, but were screaming like the refs are cheating for Coach K, like da 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 da. And I was like, that was the most official game that I have seen yet in the NCAA. It was fair. You know what I mean? The fouls were fouls. And if they weren't a foul, the foul came back on the other end and did the same.
Right.
So, but there's that mentality. I don't know. It was wild. I was very interested in that, but I was like, you know what? It makes sense. Yeah.
That's some good perspective on it. And that only comes from someone who's lived it and experienced it. So let's pivot if you want to pivot. So what do you think about tonight's game?
So my predictions for tonight's game. Well, actually, hold on. We got to give flowers to women's basketball real quick. We totally didn't even touch on that.
Let's give its due, right?
An amazing game last evening where Dawn Staley, yet again, and her South Carolina Gamecocks won their second national championship in a decade over UConn Huskies. My opinion, and Dawn Staley last night became the first black man or woman to win multiple national championships on the Division I level. That's not Division I basketball. Division I all across the board. Think about all the sports. She became the first man or woman to win that award. Not award, but record accomplishment. So I just wanted to say that because that's, to me, is like insane. But it's not surprising at all to those who know Dawn Staley's career. So my thoughts. Did you watch the game?
I did.
Okay, so my thoughts in the game were UConn had no chance ever.
No.
And I think that Stanford would have been a better matchup.
Because of their length.
Yep. I have no question.
Because of Stanford's length, they would have posed a bigger problem.
South Carolina.
In South Carolina.
Like they did last year.
Right. No, without a doubt.
Like, no question.
Right.
UConn played basically 0 to no defense, in my opinion. I was not impressed.
They couldn't box out, Faith. They couldn't rebound.
Well, it starts with defense.
I know, but
defense is rebounding. You're one of you have to close out possessions, but they were getting blown by down the lane, out hustled. I was just like, but you know what? What kept UConn in the game was their ability to score offensively. That's not a shocker. They've always been a great offensive team historically in offensive program, but South Carolina, they couldn't play defense, and that's not the team to not play defense against. South Carolina goes, right? And they rebound.
The rebound, they have I was impressed. I watched them play against Louisville. I watched them play again last night, and I don't see, again, to your point, Stanford would give them a better game. But I think their defense would have wore Stanford down too.
Yeah. So do you know Gino Auriemma's record going into the national championship last night was 11-0?
Mm-hmm. I do. Yes.
I have said this before. I think that was the worst UConn team he's had. And that says a lot because that was a really good team.
Losing the girl.
That was a really good team.
Yeah, losing the girl. Well, they didn't have that superstar. Like they didn't have a Breanna Stewart.
That's what they say Paige Beckers is.
Well, but she's a guard. I mean, they didn't have that one big. I mean,
Breanna, Diana Taurasi are guards.
Well, I know, but they had.
I'm challenging your perspective. That's all.
Yeah, and it's getting weaker as I.
Yeah, I know. Paige Beckers is good. She's good. I don't think she's that, but I think she's good. And I think they're going to probably try to draft her 1 or 2 eventually 1 year.
She's legit.
But, I liked watching Sabrina. Like, I'm thinking similar body types. Sabrina Ionescu, who was at Oregon, who then went to the Liberty. Mm-hmm. Similar style. I think Paige plays a little more, like, savvier. Mm-hmm. But, she had the hurt knee, so you never know how 100% she was last night, but South Carolina girls were like,
it was almost. They were physically outmatched, right? They were physically outmatched. I mean, without having, not only did they have bigs, but they had some tough guards.
Yeah, South Carolina has a 27 boy up on them, like.
What'd you say?
27 points. It's one of the guards put up 27 points on UConn.
Yeah,
that says a lot about UConn's defense.
Right.
It does, because UConn is South Carolina is one of those teams that has always been Asia. Even when they had Asia Wilson, while Asia Wilson put up 20 plus a lot of games, you could feel the balance, the facilitation, because they were so fast, and a lot of their stuff comes off transition. And while people say UConn is one of the fastest programs on the women's side, that defense. I was like, this is not going to do it. This might not be the one.
Yeah, I think Coach Gino also was aware that he didn't have the team.
Right, he knew.
You
could feel it.
You can feel even his responses to some of the turnovers. He didn't even. He just knew. So I was really surprised that they got as far as they did. To be honest with you.
That's what I had them losing to UCF, which they almost did in the Sweet, right, to get to the Sweet 16, because everyone knows UCF is a tough program that played UConn for years and years and years for the championship in the American, before UConn moved back out of the American to the Big East. People know that, and now the head coach of UCF, she just took the job at Georgia, so that probably will never be the case again. But I had them losing to UCF because UCF scared me, because I thought UCF was going to play the defense that South Carolina was going to play on UConn, but UCF can't score like South Carolina. But that's what I'm saying. Stanford, and I'm sad that Stanford lost that game. I don't know what happened there. Stanford lost that game to go to the national championship. If Stanford had won that game and go to the national championship and play South Carolina, I think it would have been a better, well-matched game than UConn, South Carolina. But I know TV ratings want UConn, South Carolina.
Right.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, well,
that was the first time UConn went to national championship since 2016.
I know. Well, Notre Dame stepped up its program.
Notre Dame, Stanford, Arizona,
Louisville.
Yes. Louisville. I mean, how?
Yeah.
When's the last time they went? I want to say 5 years ago.
Right. About 5 years ago.
So I'm like, I mean, we're seeing the wave change, and I don't know how much longer Gino's going to do this.
Well, he said so that I think the question was posed to him that how long he was going to do it. He said, it was funny. I love his answers, but he's going to be around for a minute. I mean, he's still going to get good quality basketball players.
I wouldn't say a minute. It might be under 10 years.
Or I would say that. That's our minute.
Davis is going to be at UNC for a minute after that.
Okay. So I guess our interpretation of what a minute is.
Yeah. No. I think Gino's coming to a close. I think this team kind of solidified that for me, where I feel like he can't. It's not that he can't recruit. I'll never put that past Gino, but what recruited for him for many years was the winning mentality that UConn presents, right? And it's the greatest. Don Staley's shaking up that philosophy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? Don Staley's shaking up that philosophy. NC State is shaking up that philosophy. Louisville is always consistently shaking up that philosophy. Neil Ivey's opened eyes this year, shaking up philosophy. I mean, it's happening on the men's side as well, right? We're talking about, I mean, UNC may have just taken the reins back from Duke in terms of where you're recruiting, right? And John Shire's gonna have to figure out, and that's what I was saying before we hopped on the call. John Shire's gonna have to figure out what it is that makes Duke special.
So when you ask me the rivalry, the first thing that impacted my decision was the players that have played at those programs.
Right.
They will always have that as a rivalry, So there's a few players that played for North Carolina. Under Michael Jordan, Grant Hill.
Yeah, they won. Here's another thing that people didn't show on TV. Carolina has this commercial they do. They play at the games that hypes up the fans, and it has like all the former players read off 18 ACC championships, 6 national championships. They do that, right? They finish it with someone goes, "This is," and then another one goes, Vince Carter goes like, "This is," and another one goes like, "This is," and then Michael Jordan comes on and finishes it and goes, "This is Carolina basketball." We can't beat that. We don't have Michael Jordan. We know that.
Right.
We're smarter. And then Duke comes on and puts on this dang biochemical commercial about how our new engineering school is this, and this. And I was watching it and I was like, at least we're smart. At least we're a good school.
Right.
But yeah, it's more, UNC is way more, and I've been saying this, UNC is way more marketable than Duke is.
Right. Now you have the Jordan brand, which is huge, right? So, wow. So
they've always been Jordan.
Yeah.
They've always been Jordan. They've always been way more marketable. UNC just didn't grasp it. They didn't. Duke jumped on the train of let's market better. UNC was late to that party.
Right. Armando Baycock, is he gonna be okay?
Is he gonna be okay? He played in the game. He pulled up Paul Pierce.
Well, he's playing, but is he gonna be okay? Is he gonna be able to? Because
I'll be honest with you, I don't want to sound like a hater because I'm not. But of all the great post players that have and players that have come through UNC, he's the most underwhelming that I've seen. But he's strong.
Yeah, he's been people wrong.
Yeah, because he's strong.
Yes,
he takes up such a presence, and it makes it so hard for you to rebound. He's not really always rebounding. If you notice that, he's not always rebounding, but he's hitting people, and their guards and their other players come in and rebound for him, and that just messes up the whole. If you think you have fast break, it's not going to happen. He's strong. I mean, obviously, he's not super footwork skill level, right? We're not going to see him do like crazy spin moves into a dunk like we've seen their players do in the past, but he's good, he's strong, and I think that he's a consistency that they need. I don't know how he'll do in the NBA. I have to see that one, and I said that about Zion, which I still have, God bless Zion's knees. I still have yet to see Zion produce in the NBA since that one season.
Right.
So he's one I really have to see in the NBA, because there's been many I've been able to picture in the NBA on their rosters. That's when I'm still struggling. I see their guards being like, with the direction that the NBA has been going with the guards, I see their guards killing it in the NBA. But I still just need to see a little bit more from their post players, but with Armando. But yeah, he pulled a Paul Pierce. He was hurt, and then he walked off, and then he ran back in 5 seconds. And I was like,
when I first saw him play, I said, I swear that's Diamond DeShields' brother. It looks so much alike, I thought, you know?
I don't see it. I'm going to have to see a side by side.
Right. He is, but they're guards. I mean, oh my goodness, man.
They're guards. They are. Yeah, amazing. Okay, so let's talk predictions. UNC's playing Kansas this evening in New Orleans. The last time UNC was in New Orleans, I'm thinking of all the other times they played in New Orleans, Michael Jordan hit that crazy shot, of course, because they had Michael Jordan. Who do you have winning tonight, and why?
Okay. Because of the ankle factor, I'm gonna go with Kansas, and that's it. If the ankle was not an issue, I would go with North Carolina. I just don't think. Yes, I think it's going to be the difference maker, because, Kansas. I've seen them play some phenomenal basketball. I got a chance to see them play against. Was it Miami?
Who are you talking about?
Kansas.
You were at Kansas. You were at a Kansas game.
I know, but I've seen them with some really bad quarters, some bad minutes. So that's my concern about Kansas. When they're on and when they're rolling, I think they're unbeatable. But they have some moments where they just check out and they get behind. I don't know if North Carolina is a team that you want to give confidence to. So
you have Kansas.
I have Kansas. And the other thing.
I'm sorry. You said Kansas because you don't know about the ankle.
Right. That's it.
I think that UNC is fully. UNC already played the national championship. They played it harder than probably would play ever.
Do you understand my rationale, though?
That's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm saying. I said they've already played national championship. They've played harder this weekend than they probably will be able to play tonight. That's what I'm saying. They played hard.
You think it would be a letdown?
For a long time. I think it might be a blowout. I hope it's not. I think Kansas is going to win. I had Kansas winning it all already. I didn't have Duke in the Final Four, nor did I have UNC. So I didn't have Duke or UNC, but I did have Kansas and Villanova. My thoughts on it, the reason why I say Kansas is the fastest team in the NCAA. No question off the dribble. Gonzaga is fast off the pass. Kansas is fast off the dribble. Bill Self, and this is something I learned and listened to being around a lot of coaches this weekend. Many say Bill Self is the best coach in basketball with X's and O's. I think Hubert Davis is a good coach. I don't think he's Bill Self yet. I think Kansas is going to be a major discrepancy in this game. And I think that because
what's the discrepancy about it, though?
Not just that Kansas's discrepancy between Kansas and UNC is that Kansas, not only are they fast, I think they're more well prepared. I think they're well rested. I think that they will be able to run circles around UNC. And I also, you say you're worried about the ankle. I don't think Armando Bacot was going to be able to keep up with Kansas with or without a good ankle.
Okay.
I don't. And we've seen that. We've seen what happens to post players who built like him when they play Kansas.
Yeah. I did. I saw it from first-hand experience.
Right? It's not just the, you know what I mean? It's not just the rebound. It's not just that. It's they go. They go.
Yeah.
Right?
And they rebound.
And they rebound.
They rebound.
They're disciplined. Like, this Kansas team can win the national championship. But if they don't win the national championship, I will say that they choked.
But those are the moments.
That's how much of a difference I see these two teams this night in skill level and ability to win the game.
Don't want to see the same Kansas team I saw the first half of the Miami game.
Which you saw a little bit creeped through against Villanova on Saturday.
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
And that's the part. The same Kansas team I saw against Kansas State.
Yep.
That I saw, right? Point blank range, right?
Yep. But I'll say this about Bill Self.
He can't be there.
I'm telling you, that's why I said I don't think UNC would have been able. I don't think Armando Bacot is going to be a major factor. I think Malik, the boy with the beard who played at Oklahoma with the mullet, not the mullet, just the long hair.
He's something else.
He'll be a factor.
He's like
he stretches the floor.
Yeah.
He stretches the floor. If I was UNC, I'd be like, you know what? Let's try to go small first.
How tall is he?
I'll give him 6'6".
Boy, he is something else. I don't think I've seen him miss a three. I mean, he's hit some critical 3-point shots in both the ACC championship game and also in this last game.
Yeah, he's been consistent this entire tournament.
Right.
He's been a deciding factor. He is what I think UNC should think in terms of like our post presence. Yes, because they got the ones that kill you at Kansas. Yes, they've an amazing post player, right? A wiry one who runs the floor, keeps up with them, dunks when he needs to. You need to be scared of their guards, and UNC has great guards, but
this could be a good match.
You need someone. You need to take him that post player away from the rim, and by doing so, that's why I'm saying go small, spread the floor a little bit. Make him have to guard 3-point line, to block, to corner, to free throw line. You know what I mean? Like making him move around, work him, and then maybe throw Bacot in, and he can do his thing.
It's interesting enough that they didn't lose a step when Bacot was out.
They sped up.
Yeah,
they sped up. But that's not that's science.
You've actually made the game more exciting for me because obviously Duke is not in it, but this is going to be a really interesting game.
It's going to be an interesting game, and it's going to say a lot about Bill Self's ability to coach. I think that no one expects anything from Hubert Davis.
I saw him coach, Trey. I was impressed.
Yeah.
It was, I had been to a college basketball game, but to be that. So when I talk about coach, I'm talking about his demeanor, his position, how you don't ever see him really get in the face of his players, but he is in the face of his players. Right?
No, we know he had to when he went to halftime that one day.
Yeah. But he is, and then of course I see how he responds to the crowd. He's not even rattled.
I think right? he's been doing that so long. That's my thing. I said, if someone were to ask us who has more to prove, Bill Self or Hubert Davis, it's Bill Self every second of every day. Because Bill Self not only has been there as a head coach.
He has never won a national championship, has he?
Yes, he has.
With who?
With Kansas. Bill Self has been with Kansas forever.
So okay, that was just a question. I'm not really sure.
Bill Self is Kansas.
Wait a minute. They've had Roy Williams. So you said Bill Self is how many national championships?
I'm getting the lineup for you.
Okay.
I'm just thinking about all the great players that have come through Bill Self.
I know, but when did he win a national championship in Kansas?
One national championship, 16 Big 12 titles.
Okay, one national. Okay.
14 straight Big 12 titles from 2005 to 2018. He's 264 and 14 in all time on Fieldhouse. Dad.
Okay.
Put some respect on him. Bill Self. You know Bill Self has a lifelong contract.
Right.
No, you're not understanding what that means.
I'm not disagreeing
Bill
with
Self
you.
Can die on that court, and that is the only time they'll be like, "All right, time to find a new coach." Bill Self will never be fired.
Yeah.
No, Bill Self is a great coach. I think he's one of the greatest. He's definitely a Hall of Famer for sure. They put Bob Huggins in the Hall of Fame this weekend.
I saw that.
About time. Swing Cash, about time.
Yeah.
But no, and just going back to it, this game is a lot more to say about Bill Self's ability to win because he's getting presented. No one thinks that UNC should win this game tonight. They're not. They want them to. Well, everyone wants them to, but Kansas and Duke are equivalent in their blue blood hatred. Does that make sense? I think people hate Duke way more. I think people hate Bill Self in Kansas because they think about of all the blue bloods, Kansas and Duke have had the big names.
Right.
UNC's have the big names, but they turned into bigger names. Right.
Well, USC had the biggest name.
Yeah, but no one knew Michael Jordan was going to be Michael Jordan. You're not understanding what I'm saying. No one knew Michael Jordan was going to be Michael Jordan. Nobody knew. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, look at all the UNC, the top stars of UNC that come in and then go with it. Rasheed Wallace, great player.
Great deal. Right?
But they are great college players that are consistent, hardworking, and get better each year in the NBA. That's the thing about UNC, right? But no one knew Michael Jordan was going to be Michael Jordan. Right. Only Michael Jordan knew he was going to be Michael Jordan. Duke has them come in and they're saying they might be the next Michael Jordan. They might be the next LeBron, right? Zion Williamson, Jason Tatum. Think about all the names we've seen come in contrast. Do you know what I'm saying? And what they think Duke is going to be. Similar to Kansas, Andrew Wiggins, Joel Embiid. Are you kidding me? Mario Chalmers, Bill. Dad. They put the top starting 5 of players on each blue blood that was in the Final Four, and Kansas whooped everybody's butt. Right. Like, not Bill Russell, not Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Who went to? I'm sorry, I'm blanking. Who said? You know,
Danny Manning was there too.
Yes, but you know what I'm talking about. Wilt Chamberlain.
Well, yeah.
So that's my thing about Kansas and Duke. They have that to it. And then, we'll see if those players pan out. Duke is interesting with that way. But no, I'm saying I think that no one wants Kansas to win. I think they want UNC to win. I think everybody wants UNC to win. Not they're saying they're a Cinderella team, but I think they give them Cinderella vibes. Right? So it's a lot to say about Bill Self. I think if Hubert Davis loses, it won't be the end of the world for Hubert Davis's reputation. But I think if Bill Self loses, people will be like, interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They'll be like, interesting.
So he's legitimately one of the greatest coaches, right? But if he loses this game, it will chink his armor a little bit.
He'll always be one of the greatest coaches.
It's almost like the quarterbacks in the NFL that's like Dan Marino, right? Who played forever but never won a Super Bowl, right?
Chuck. Charles Barkley.
Yeah. Chuck. Poor Chuck.
Charles Barkley.
Yep.
Charles Barkley. And then
there's a few of them.
The logo has won. He has won championship.
Who?
He went to the championship. The logo.
Jerry West.
But he went to the championship 9 times.
The logo.
The logo. He's the logo, Dad. You tripping. But yeah, so it's like I think Bill Self this is a big game for Bill Self and his team in the Kansas program because this is a national championship. If they mess around and let Hubert Davis win a national championship in his first year as head coach of UNC, Bill Self not only has a lot of questions, but so does kind of the rest of the world, kind of. We're like Hubert Davis represents the new era.
Right.
So that's why I think has more pressure tonight, Bill Self for sure. Hubert Davis is out there just going to coach hard and hope they win. And regardless, people are going to be extremely proud of his first year.
He was working the daylights out of those referees, man. He was working them.
Yeah. So I think that was great. I think I'm interested to see how it goes. My predictions, obviously, I want Kansas to win. Obviously, Bill Self needs to win. But we don't. We can say Bill Self will be there for a minute because Bill Self is a lifelong contract. People aren't saying what a lifelong means. Bill Self will stop being the head coach of Kansas when Bill Self decides he wants to stop being the head coach of Kansas.
Right.
Bill Self walks up. If he loses tonight, Bill Self will wake up the next morning and I'll be like, all right, let's get ready for the next season. Let's get ready for the next 5 seasons. Some coaches aren't that fortunate. So yeah. So great stuff, great show. I mean,
really quick, we got 1 minute. How do you think Duke is going to be now as a basketball team?
We'll see. I don't know. I do not know.
Okay.
That depends on the recruiting, and they got to win. They got to win more than anything now. They got to win more than anything.
You think the recruiting is gonna fall off?
Yeah, it's gonna fall. What?
Okay.
Why does Zion Williamson go to Duke instead of South Carolina or North Carolina?
Okay.
He went to Duke because of Coach K. Why did Jason Tatum go to Duke instead of a Northeastern school? Why didn't he go to UConn? Why didn't he? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I just wanted to finish off with that.
No, that's fine. I think John Shire and them, they have to recruit, but it's gonna be about winning. They got to do exactly what UNC has been trying to do for the last couple of years: build, win. And now because they're winning, and now they're playing the national championship game, recruiting comes, right? So you got to win. Duke hasn't been winning. They haven't. We've got what, Elite Eight. Final Four. Last Final Four was where? 2015.
Yeah.
When they won national championship. Last Final Four for UConn, 2016. So we're watching the change happen, the turnover, right? But Duke has to win. They have to win. It's not about recruiting anymore. The recruiting game is like, can you back up? Are we going to get to the national championship? That's really where it's at now. Because Duke was pushing it. Well, we have Coach K. We don't have Coach K anymore.
Do you think the one and done, the portals is going to impact a lot of this too?
It's going to change the world. I think that high school players are going to get the worst end of the stick.
Okay. Yeah, me too.
But it's life.
Yeah. Great show, Faith.
It's just happening before you get to college now.
Yes.
So, yep, great show. I appreciate everyone for joining us this awesome Monday morning. Of course, this is Faith Family Focus. We will see you guys again soon, but we wanted to wish you all a wonderful week. Again, this Faith Family Focus, we're going to use our faith as a vehicle to help heal and sustain others on strengthening their own family core. And of course,
let go, let God. Let go, let faith. Let go, let love.
See you guys all soon.